From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Hi to everyone listening in, including on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Good to have you with us. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more coming soon. Tonight's show is brought to you by the Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit MightyMooseBeard.com. Don't forget to use promo code SOR2019 today. The third Wednesday of the month, we get Haunted Crew of Canada's Mike MERLE Morin in here for Ghosts of the Great White North. A longtime paranormal investigator out of Vancouver, British Columbia, Merle brings a new look on the paranormal to each and every month that he is on. Tonight we are joined by special guest Amber Bekkerud from the new Spaced Out Radio's YouTube feature, Cryptid Tales. If you haven't checked it out yet, highly recommend you do, because Amber brings a fresh look at some of the most obscure cryptid tales from around the world. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. MERLE Morin, it's been a month, my friend, but I'm excited because not only are you on the show tonight, but also next week you're coming up to do some investigating, which is going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. I'm excited. You're going to take me lots of places this time, aren't you? I'll bring your wings.
I hope you bring the hot wings, man. Bring the hot wings, because I deserve them. Mike has this uncanny ability every time he comes up and visits, and we go on ghost hunting adventures. He literally shows up with like 3-4 pounds of chicken wings. So we get really, really full on the chicken wings, man. And, Mike, you pick out some good ones, and I thank you for that.
My pleasure.
All right. Amber Bekkerud from Cryptid Tales on our YouTube channel. Good to have you back on the air, my friend.
I'm glad to be back. It's been a hot minute.
It totally has. And I have to tell you, Amber was a guest on our show a few months ago, and I absolutely fell in love with the way she can tell a cryptid story. So I had this little idea. I said, Amber, stick with me here for a couple of seconds. I got to ask you something. She's like, okay, strange dude in British Columbia with the fantastic hair. What do you want? And I had this idea of really, really bringing something new to our YouTube channel, which is a little segment called Cryptid Tales. And I love the way on Amber's own YouTube channel, and you could look it up, Amber Bekkerud, make sure you hit that subscribe button, of the way she tells stories. And I thought, what if we did something like really obscure every couple weeks? And I have to tell you, when Amber agreed to this, it was one of the best moves that we have made for this show on our social media side, because when she is telling the stories and bringing it forward, and Gail is putting it on our website, and everybody's clicking on it, and the comments that we have, she is absolutely perfect in finding these real weird cryptic stories that are so obscure that it really, really makes you go, really, that's going on? And she tells them so well. So make sure you check out our YouTube channel, Cryptid Tales with Amber. Amber, I appreciate everything that you're doing to help us with that. You're doing amazing. Thank you. You took the idea right out of my head, and you've absolutely hit a home run with it.
Oh, thank you. When you pitched the idea, it made me so excited, because that was something that I was wanting to do for my own channel, but when you pitched the idea to me to do it for you guys, I was already moving on with my channel and was like, I'm going to go more into the investigative style, and I'm going to start doing full episodes and kind of start doing more TV episode style things. So I wasn't going to be doing those stories anymore really on my own channel. So doing them for you guys just gave me the ability to keep doing it.
Well, it's fantastic what you're doing. Absolutely fantastic. Keep up the great work. And the reason why we have you both here tonight is for Ghosts of the Great White North. Amber is going to be our storyteller tonight. And before we get going, Mike, you had a recent charity event at the Bailey House in the deserts of British Columbia. Yes, there are deserts here in Merritt, British Columbia. And you had some pretty strange things going on there, my friend.
I did. Bailey House, it never disappoints. We had lots happen. We have so much evidence that we're still going through all of it. We stepped up our audio. We usually will roll with about 2 to 3 recorders. We had 6 going this time. And we also did some experiments with a Ouija board, which I can tell you about later. We were all skeptical to use the Ouija. Actually, I'll tell you now. We were all skeptical to use the Ouija board because it's very frowned upon with a lot of the paranormal community. But what we were trying to do is we were also using tape recorders, like actually old school tape decks. We were using baby powder. We were using fishing line with bells on it, the whole 9 yards. My argument with trying the Ouija board was I tried to get my team. I'm like, tell me the difference between a modern day spirit box versus a Ouija board. Is there a difference? And I was greeted by dead air when I would ask, because it's technically the same thing, just before radios. And we got a lot of response with the Ouija board. It was at the beginning, it was like, you're pushing it. No, you're pushing it. But if you go back and watch our video, which I'm hoping to have a YouTube video up within the next couple of weeks showing some of the Ouija, you can see it. You can see our hands are barely on it because we have 2 angles. We have one right on the board and then one on the investigators that were doing it. And we're getting actual audible answers while doing it. So I kind of want to go through that evidence along with the audio to see if it'll align up.
Well, that actually brings up a very good topic, Mike, because so many people fret on the Ouija board. And, we're planning again on Halloween night to have Karen Dahlman back for the 4th year in a row where we're going to do live Ouija board updates on Halloween night. We've done them the last 3. It's been absolutely terrific. It's one of our highest rated shows that we do during the year. And I got to tell you, I don't have the hatred or the freak out factor of a Ouija board like a lot of people do. I really don't, because I look at them the same way I look at a pendulum, the way I look at people who are psychic, the way I look at people who read tea leaves, tarot cards, whatever it may be. I don't see a difference. What am I missing here, Mike?
You're missing nothing. We're on the exact same page. It's an argument I'm happy to have with anyone, that between a pendulum, a Ouija board, a spirit box, tarot cards, tea leaves, psychics, you're all communicating with one thing, which is the dead. So be it, like I said, a Ouija or a spirit box, it's all the same poop, different pile.
Amber, what's your thoughts on the Ouija board?
I have not actually actively used one myself, but that would never stop me from using it. I've used pendulums, I've used tarot cards. I myself have, used whatever psychic ability you want to say that I have to communicate with people who are no longer here. And I think as long as you're actively using it in a respectful way, it can't hurt you. And knowing the ability to when to stop and what to how to properly use the board is another thing. It kills me that it's still so widely advertised as a Hasbro game and that kind of thing. But, I've seen some very real things happen that have been very detrimental to people because of use of it and just ignorance of how to use it. But it used properly and used respectfully, you're going to get quality answers just as much as you would with a spirit box, if not better, because you don't have the radio interference and you're getting more clear spelled out words than, well, it could have been this word, but it kind of sounded like this. You're still getting an answer no matter what you're doing. So I think that in reality, people do freak out because Hollywood hype is Hollywood hype. And, Hollywood has the tendency to make it worse than what it actually is, but it can also be bad, just like everything else in the world. So,
yeah, I agree with you when you say that, because it is about the people who are using it. It's not about the tool itself. I mean, there are so many debates that we could have that with, and I agree. When it comes to the paranormal, I don't see any issue with the Ouija board. I really don't. Talking to people like Karen Dahlman, who has used the Ouija board for 35 plus years and is probably one of the most studious people on the spirit board, I believe it. I believe, that you can build a trust. You can build a relationship with it if you are protected. And by God, please be protected by it, just in case. But I mean, there is no difference. And I always look at these people and I kind of roll my eyes now. I used to laugh at it. Now I'm more rolling my eyes. All these people out there, and you see them on social media. Oh, Ouija board, stay away from that. My brothers, sisters, friends, aunts, uncles, dogs, former owner used a Ouija board once and all the light bulbs blew up in the house. There's always that story. I've never had a light bulb blow up in my house. Never. Am I that unlucky? I don't know. What do you
some
think,
of
Amber?
my
Or Merle, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
some
ahead.
of my most early paranormal experiences when I was young and dumb was when I first tried a Ouija board. When I was probably 16 or 17, it was a hot summer's night, kind of like tonight. And me and my friends, we were doing the old Ouija thing, and then we decided that we wanted to go get Slurpees. So before we went and got Slurpees, we were asking the Ouija board dumb questions. I'm like, okay, what is my friend John's favorite or worst fear? And it spelled out, and he wasn't even on the Ouija board. It spelled out white pit bull. Okay. And we're like, yeah, whatever. It's just a dog. And then, so an hour after that, we go to the local 7-Eleven, and on the way there, a white pit bull literally comes out of nowhere, separates him from the group, corners him, growls, and then just walks away. Like, Ouija called it. And then another time, we're like, oh, let's do this again another night. So the other night is here. And we're like, if you're here, give us a sign, not on the board. Because it was doing, if you use a Ouija board, when it's thinking, or whoever you're talking to is thinking or gaining energy, it kind of does like a figure eight. And all of a sudden we heard in the room we were in, the door, 3 really loud bang, bang, bangs on the door in the inside of the house. And then when my buddy opened the door, all the curtains on his windows moved like somebody's hand was in it.
Oh, wow.
And, then after that, I'm like, nope, no more. Until a month ago.
We were, a few years ago, we were using a spirit board over at a friend's house, and they had this small 2-bedroom cabin-style bedroom, or house, pardon me. And the kitchen and the dining room table were probably about 5 feet apart, and in between those was the wood stove. And the wood stove hadn't been burning since about 9:30 that morning. This was now 10:30 at night. And we were using the Ouija board, and all of a sudden the owner of the house, his name is Dave as well, looks and he's like, who started a fire? There was a fire burning in it. And all of a sudden our fingers on the board started going around faster and faster and faster. And Dave's wife at the time literally says, was that you that started the fire in the fireplace? Goes to yes. And she goes, well, why? It spelled out, I was cold. We're like, oh, okay. That's kind of cool. Kind of trippy that the fire started in the fireplace. It hadn't been burning, and it hadn't been opened up since about 9:30 that morning, 13 hours difference, I mean, sure, it wasn't even cold out, and we got a fire. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. How about you, Amber? Give us a weird one here with the Ouija board.
Well, it's funny that this is the topic of conversation to start the show off because I, like you said, I moved and there's a girl that just started working with me and I walked into work the other day and she looks at me and she says, I have to tell you something. I said, okay. She goes, I play with a Ouija board every once in a while. You know, I keep it in the shed at my boyfriend's place and, you know, I haven't really played with it for a few months. And she had a crystal dish that was in the shape of a Ouija board, and it had been missing for over a year and a half. Couldn't find it anywhere, high and low, searched for it, forgot about it. She said, I went yesterday to pull out the Ouija board to have some fun and see if I could talk to anybody. And the crystal dish was sitting in the Ouija board box on top of the board in the back of the shed behind everything. And she hadn't seen it for over a year. So she hauled it out, did her thing and said, okay, was that you who took my crystal dish? And it responded with yes. And then she said, well, who are you? And it wouldn't say anything. It said, well, did you put it back? And the answer was yes. And then she kept trying to ask and push and kind of say like, oh, okay, well, was it you? Was it you? And it wouldn't tell her what or who it was or where the dish went or anything like that. But she kind of looked at me. She said, I'm going to freak out if I go home now tonight and that dish is gone again because I pushed too many buttons and asked too many questions. But it's that real fear, right? That, you know, these things can manipulate everything, whether it's like the curtains moving, or starting a fire. And it's interesting how much in the last few days too, that Ouija boards have come up in conversation with people that I've talked to, because I had somebody else in a, online buy and sell back home in the Yukon post and say, I'm looking to borrow or buy a Ouija board. And everybody started freaking out and they're like, why would you do that? Why do you want that? And somebody else commented and they said, well, I have one that you can have if it'll stay with you. I've tried to get rid of it 3 times and it keeps coming back.
Oh, see, that stuff I don't buy. Okay, I just don't buy that. I don't know why. Maybe I'm naive and I just haven't had it happen to me. But I've had a couple of Ouija boards before. I've got rid of them after I got the heebie-jeebies a little bit. They never came back.
Did you burn them?
No, I didn't burn them. Why would I waste my time? Why would I waste my time? See, that's go ahead, Merle.
I've got one in my closet I'll bring up on the next weekend if you want to.
Yeah, bring it up. Yeah, bring it up. Bring it up. Let's do it. Let's Ouija.
I want live tweets. I want live tweets the whole time.
you know what? Maybe we'll go on Periscope and do it.
We'll do it on my Haunted Cruise Instagram Live. I've been dying to use Instagram Live.
Yes.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Because it's at my house, it would be a spaced out radio event. Event of the year, live Ouija board, because we have nothing better to do on a Saturday night. Just the way we roll. Just the way we roll. Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada, Amber Bekkerud from Spaced Out Radio's Cryptid Tales here on Ghosts of the Great White North tonight. Considering the Ouija board is just a tool, just another piece of usage that we could use. Now, there is the people out there who do believe that, you know, it's the fingers' nerves who are moving the planchette to make it go to the letters that we need it to go, and I think that's a valid point. But Aaron brings up a good point in the chat room. How come nobody ever does the Ouija board blindfolded, so that way they can't see where the planchette is heading?
Can I add to that? I'll add to that. When we did it down in the basement at the location we were at, it was pitch black. The only people that could see what was being spelt were the people holding the IR cameras. So the 2 investigators that were doing the Ouija board couldn't see each other, let alone the Ouija board, and it was spelling crystal clear.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Damn.
That's pretty sexy.
It was pretty sexy.
And I was supposed to be there for that, too.
You were. You just decided no.
I'm that guy. I don't know what a social life is.
Dave.
Yeah, classic Dave. If there's a social happening, I'm going the opposite direction. Because I would sooner work on a Saturday night or a Sunday night. That's what I would sooner do. What am I supposed to do? We only got about 2.5 minutes here before we go to break. Let's finish it up with some Ouija board talk here. Amber, when you are using the Ouija board, are you protecting yourself or do you just go for it?
Mostly just because I always try and make sure that I'm protected. Like any time that I've been around one or have talked about using one or thought about using one or what have you, I always have something. We have crystals in the car. We have crystals in our bags. We usually have something somewhere to protect us at all times. And generally I also keep a lot of sage on me. So yeah, definitely protected.
Or superstitious. One of the two.
Or that.
Which one is it? Which one is it? Come on, just let us know.
I don't know. I think it's just protected almost out of respect, being raised around very involved First Nations culture and just having the respect for our ancestors and all of that kind of stuff. Smudging is always a thing. I've always done it, and that's just something that I was raised by the elders and taught to do. So I think it's just partially superstition and partially just, extra protection.
How about you, Merle?
I usually have protection on me. That night in particular, I did not. We sage after, usually sage before, but we were trying to get some good audible evidence, and I was kind of a guinea pig with a few of our investigation techniques that night. But 90% of the time, I'm usually rocking some black onyx and some quartz.
I will definitely agree with that too. Like if I want to go and get some quality evidence, like I will provoke. I will, I'll push the buttons that need to be pushed. But if I'm just, out to just do it and not really go for hardcore evidence or anything, then protection for sure.
Agreed. I find going into locations sometimes too protected, you get nothing. They don't want to talk or they can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they may be intimidated of you, Merle. I mean, you're a pretty intimidating guy. When you're doing the Merle pose with your arms crossed in front of your chest and your chest beaking out like that, I mean, that is intimidation 101 right there.
It's a strong pose.
It is very strong. Mike, you hold on. Amber, you sit tight as well. We are going to go to a break here at the bottom of the hour here on Spaced Out Radio as we have Ghosts of the Great White North continuing tonight. Ghost stories galore coming on up with Merle and Amber. Where will we go? Nobody knows. But we're going to have some fun tonight. Mike's going to apparently tell us a scary story, too. So we'll be back right after this. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
We're in the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us on All Merle, All Night, Ghosts of the Great White North. Reminder, if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can always head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, more coming very, very soon. Ghosts of the Great White North happens the third Wednesday of every month, where we are joined by Merle himself, Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada. Special guest tonight, Amber Bekkerud, all the way in Newfoundland. She's an extra half hour ahead, people. Extra half hour. So if you're in Eastern time, she's an hour and a half. From where I am, 4.5 hours. Because the Newfies, they do it right over there. They really do. Beautiful area. Amber, Mike, welcome back.
Thanks, Dave.
No problem, Merle. No problem, Merle. All right. Moving on here. Mike, you wanted to share a story of something that happened recently.
I did. So I built a new piece of paranormal equipment. It's called a ghost portal, like a spirit portal, similar to like what Bill Hauser uses when he comes on your show.
Right.
So I built it from scratch. I ordered all the parts, all the guitar pedals, everything. But I wanted to make it kind of creepy instead of just having it like on a piece of plywood, right? And so I combed all of the old thrift stores in Vancouver, looking on Craigslist. I wanted like a late 1800s, early 1900s sewing box, like, you know, the old Singer ones.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm bringing this up too next week. So what I found was like a 1902, I forget the name brand of the sewing machine, but the box is made out of old crocodile skin. Okay. And it kind of gave me the creeps when I picked it up. I'm like, I don't want to buy it because if I can't keep it in if it's too creepy to keep in my bedroom, I shouldn't have it in my house because I have all my gear in like an area in my room. And I'm like, yeah, that's never gonna come in my bedroom. But I'm like, it looks cool. So I haggled with the people, got it for $20. Came with a sewing machine, and something told me not to get. It's hard to explain. I could feel the previous owner, must have came from an estate sale, angry at me because I wasn't going to use it for what it was meant for. And I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to drop the sewing machine off at Value Village because maybe there's somebody out there that wants a sewing machine with no box. And so when I took the sewing machine out of the box, I felt gross. I felt angry. I felt flushed. I felt like an anxiety attack would be the way to say it. Like I'm doing something wrong, illegal, bad. And there was no needle on it. And then when I went to go pick it up, a needle just came flying out of the insides of the machine and just jabbed my finger. And I think that was the ghost of the previous owner telling me how she felt.
So you spun the wheel on a sewing machine that you've never used before. The needle comes flying out, and all of a sudden it's ghosts. Why not aliens, Merle? Why not aliens?
That's a different story for later. Next hour. Come on. We got the alien story later. Let's space this out. Get it? Space. Anyhow. No, I didn't spin anything. It literally just came out like a capel gun or like a stapler. It was just the weirdest thing ever.
Are you sure you weren't practicing your macrame again?
I'm going with it was the spirit of the owner telling me she didn't appreciate me dumping her sewing machine in a bin and just keeping the box.
What about your macrame?
I don't know what that means. I'm not that old.
Amber's younger than you. Better looking, too. She even knows what macrame is.
Oh, this is great.
She's silent as well.
No, I mean, I think you obviously had the right feeling. You know, it's something that you can't ignore when you buy things, especially when you're getting them from a thrift store or a garage sale or even at Value Village, you know, any of those places that things are dropped off. There's always going to be residual energy attached to it. And I mean, most people just don't pick up on it, but you know, obviously you're in tune enough to pick up on the fact that, you know, this lady was pissed that you were disrespecting something that she probably used constantly and, you know, who knows, made clothing for all of her children with, you know?
Mm-hmm. She could probably work a set of needles like anything, too.
Probably. That's why she's gunning for my left pointer finger. I used that at work. It was
exactly
out for a week.
Exactly. When it comes to haunted stories, Amber, you know, you're somebody who is investigating the weird and the strange for Cryptid Tales on our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Is there anything that just kind of sets you off when you're investigating and you just think that's fake? It's so bad you roll your eyes. And do you have an example of that?
I've run into a few things for sure, but I wouldn't necessarily say that I found it with stories that I have looked into myself versus watching other people do investigations. Like, I spend a lot of time with YouTube playing in the background, and watching people's investigations and, you know, doing my research on all of these places all over the world. And watching the people who have gone to those places and listening to the history and seeing what they're finding and what they're capturing. And there are just so many times where I have to wonder how many people are over-exaggerating and overplaying what they're finding in order to make good content or in order to make a good story. You know, I had a conversation with somebody today at work about how at the core of any myth or legend or tale or story, there is a thread of truth. Whether, you know, 1% of it was truthful and the rest of it was made up and glorified, or 80% of it was true and the rest was, you know, padded around it to make it more appealing to people. So I haven't found too many stories in my own research that I'm like, oh no, that's 100% fake. Aside from, you know, people saying that a dog that looked like a husky is, you know, the chupacabra running through the forest in their backyard. But, yeah, I find that it's mostly just the people who are going to try and get good content and just over glorifying everything that's happening. Because, I mean, I'm sure that Merle can attest to this. You know, not every investigation you go and do, you're going to get evidence. Sometimes it's quiet. Even if you're going in just being like, okay, come at me, show me what you have. You know, sometimes places just either aren't active that night or they just don't have anything, even if people have said they do.
You know, it's funny you mention that because many times we have gone into our ghost tour at the local museum here, and before we introduce and split up the people to their groups and the guides and everything like that, and I know Bazooka Joe is listening in, so he's probably going to nod his head with this. One of the first things that we always tell people is, you know, we cannot guarantee that you're going to get action. And it was funny because a couple of tours ago, Bazooka Joe's group and my group, two different groups, were getting great action all night. Except Bazooka Joe's wife, her group was absolutely dead. No pun intended. It was so quiet that she actually had people complaining that they wanted to go into different groups because the other groups, because they would intersect every now and again, be like, oh, we had this happen, we had that happen, you're going to be awesome in there. And they get in there and nothing happens. So it's weird. And that's bang on what you're saying, Amber.
Well, and I think it's one of those things, and I have mad respect for a couple of other YouTubers out there who have been really doing investigations and doing more public posting about the things that they're doing. And they say at the beginning of every single video, we don't know what's going to happen, and nothing, maybe nothing will happen. And, they're straight up about it. They're very open, and they say, something might not happen tonight, and that's not our fault. We can't control them. Spirits are going to do what they want to do. If they want to terrify you, they're going to do it. If they don't want to have anything to do with you, they're not going to have anything to do with you. You can't play them like a game. So,
yeah. Merle, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I was at a church in Golden, Oregon, Southern Oregon, about last week, and one of the famous paranormal TV shows state that if you go into this certain church at nighttime, you will become possessed. So, what does old Merle do, Dave? Merle goes in there at night.
Oh, it's because it's all Merle all night, man.
Yeah, me and the old German go in there at night, and we're like, you say you possess, here's your chance to attempt to possess, we're here to talk, blah, 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 doing a basic investigation. But this church had so much hype, it kind of made me nervous to even go there, because I'm like, well, what if stuff like that actually happens? We brought the old ghost portal, we brought everything, and nothing. I don't even know if we'll get an EVP. Just an empty building. And then some of the accounts where you get possessed at night, and then a ghost vampire follows you back to your hotel and torments you at night. None of it happened. So I was all disappointed.
I'd be disappointed too. You travel all that way, the ghosts don't show up. But I mean, this is also, if you look at it, one of the critiques that many of us have on paranormal television, because they make it seem like there's ghosts everywhere, ghosts in your armpits, ghosts, walking behind you, ghosts, jumping out of every crook and cranny in any haunted building that's out there. And yet, if there are no ghosts doing that, they're claiming, well, no, this place ain't haunted. No, nobody's having experiences here. We haven't had anything, so therefore nobody's having it, Mike.
No, but then the second night we got some hits on our spirit box. So, like the first night, we went in guns ablaze, and it was basically Ghostbusters 4. We were ready. We had our proton packs. We were ready for the devil, and nothing. But then we're like, all right, that's cool. Maybe they just don't want to talk tonight. Maybe they're haunting somebody else. So we did. We hit it 3 times. We hit 3 different nights. And, yeah, first night was skunk. Second night wasn't as bad, but this location at Golden. So Golden is just a little chunk of land. There's a gold rush down in Southern Oregon in the late 1800s. This church was built in 1883. I can throw a photo onto the Facebook page in a second when I'm done talking. But then there's also a little schoolhouse. So when me and the German went to the schoolhouse, she was getting ready to go inside. And she was like, I don't like the feeling of this building. I'm like, that means we go in. And all of a sudden, before she goes in, the door slams on her and hits her side. And it scared the crap out of her. And so the church that is supposed to be all scary and demonic, nothing. But then you go to this little innocent schoolhouse. That's where it all happened. We had hit after hit on our spirit box, on our REM pods, on our K2s. Everything was just going off. But then, like, the next day, nothing in the schoolhouse. And then the church kind of picked up the next day. So it's true. You don't know where they're going to be. When I explain ghost hunting or paranormal investigation to people that don't do it often, I use the fishing analogy. Dave, you're a fisherman, so you'll know. You go cast your line in the river on day 1. There's nothing. But then you go to that same spot on day 3 and you cast your line and you can't keep fish off of it. So I don't want to compare ghosts to fish, but sometimes they're not there. They don't want to talk to you, but sometimes they are.
It's a good analogy.
Good
analogy. I'll have to use that one. I'm going to put that one in the bank. We got about 8 minutes before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. MERLE Morin and Amber Bekkerud are our guests tonight on Spaced Out Radio for Ghosts of the Great White North. In regards to hauntings, is there a haunted case, Mike, when you have gone to it, that it wasn't what was expressed? Not that you were sold a bill of goods or anything like that, but let's say you get a residential call that somebody is terrified because there are ghosts in their house. And really, it's not. It is somebody who is maybe having psychological problems, maybe having battles with depression or anxiety, or maybe they live in a basement suite and they got really loud owners up above and they don't know what they're doing. How do you deal with those types of cases?
It's funny, were you reading my emails? There's a residential case we've been doing, haven't been there for almost 6 months now, but we'd just gotten an email from them the last couple of days, and our case manager, Jeff, was going through it. And so this house we went to, I'm not going to say who they are or where they are, keep it all confidential. They had a previous tenant there that did witchcraft, sacrificed crows, rats, little rabbits, all that sort of weird stuff. And they put spells on the tenants upstairs, and there are dead things buried all throughout the land, be it, like I said, rats, birds, or any weird things like that. And we went there, and we've done 2 thorough investigations there. It feels kind of icky, like energy-wise vibe. If you're a ghost hunter, you know what I mean. When you go into an area and it feels off, like the energy's off. But there's also a lot of K2 contamination, like wires and things like that. But we did get a few responses from our audio recorders. We got a few good EVPs, but nothing to what they were talking about or what their accounts were. That fast forward to a couple days ago where we got an email stating that activities picked up. It's a poltergeist. Things are being thrown. Dogs are growling. People are running up and down, or ghosts are running up and down their hallways. They want to bring in a Catholic priest, all that sort of crazy stuff. So I guess we'll have to go back to that one and see if the accounts line up to what we investigate.
But what about those who are just wanting the attention? They're wanting that story, Mike, to tell their friends, tell their family that I had a ghost team come over because my house is haunted. There are people out there who want that attention.
Oh, God, that happens all the time. We had a good one a couple of years ago where it was basically like a show. So they call us saying that there's basically demons everywhere in their house and they want us to go catch them and throw them away, sort of thing. And so our previous team, we go there. We're all like, oh, man, this sounds like a good one. Hopefully we're going to be able to help them figure this all out, fix their place for them, and have a happy ending. But when we get there, their neighbors were there. Their other neighbors were there. Their kids' friends were there. They're all drinking alcohol. They're like, all right, Ghostbusters, do what you do. So that was just a fun Saturday night for them where a team like ours, were very serious, evidence and clients-based, go there and we're like, what the hell? So yeah, it happens all the time.
Did you pick up and leave?
No, we're like, fine, we'll do this. You guys go sit over there and don't talk. Watch paint dry. Well, we did it. We didn't get any evidence because there's obviously too much contamination. But that would fall on us. Like I'll take the blame because being lead investigator, we're very thorough with how we interview people. We thought we were thorough when we talked to these people, but clearly maybe we missed a few questions because whenever we're going to go on an investigation, we want to know everything about you, about your situation, what you've done, what your friends have done, what your people that come over have done, etc. So the ball was dropped where something like that would happen. But again, they could have been a little deceptive and not have told us everything so they can have a night of entertainment.
Amber, what's your thoughts?
I just can't believe how disrespectful to the community that is. Like, I'm listening to this story and I'm like, oh my God, like how it really upsets me and sickens me that some like people treat this as a game when it is something that myself or Mike takes so seriously. And, we want to help. We want to make it better for people. And if people are really being affected, and there are those people who just treat it as a game. Of course, the people who maybe do have some mental illness that is orchestrating it, if you figure that out and it is just their own mental illness and you can help them get the help that they need to make it better, great. But when it's just people looking for a laugh, that would make me so mad. I'd be so mad.
Oh, we just killed them with kindness and did what we do, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way. Because then if we leave all in a huff, that's 12 to 14 people going, blah, 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 they're horrible.
Yeah, and it looks bad on you, and then it just becomes this whole thing.
But the other case I was talking about were the people having poltergeist activity now. We're going to go check it out. We'll give them we want to help them. We don't want them to feel scared, but allegedly the activity has increased tenfold. So we have a couple new members on our team. We have a lot of new gear, a lot of new stuff we can use to try and figure out what's going on. So it could be interesting.
We got about 2 minutes here before we go to break. When you go to an investigation, Mike, and you are putting people through their paces on whether or not it's worth your time, and I mean that with all due respect, because I don't mean that to sound very arrogant or something along that, but you really don't want to go to a location where somebody is trying to play you. How important is that pre-phone call or that pre-meeting before the investigation?
It sets the pace of our investigations. There's a couple things we do to weed out people if they're serious or not. Example being like, Dave, you call me being like, bro, my house is haunted, help me. I'm going to ask you about 15 questions, and then I'm going to say, I will contact you in 2 weeks. You're going to contact me in 2 weeks, and this is what you're going to do. Every day you're going to write a journal of what is happening to see if there's a pattern, if it's anything like that. And once we have that, then we'll come in and schedule an investigation. Unless it's something more serious, we're like, oh my God, we need you right now, then we'll go. But a lot of times we want to try and establish if there's a pattern and things like that.
I could see where that would be important because, what if a person doesn't have 2 weeks? What if it's ugly, Mike?
Sadly, then we go in. We go in as quick as we can, usually within a day, if it's possible.
You got the Merle coveralls to go on, or what?
Merle doesn't wear coveralls. Merle just looks good in whatever he does.
Very nice. Very nice. Amber?
Coveralls.
I think Merle wears his ghost-busting coveralls. What do you think?
Okay, I do, Dave. I do.
With knee pads. With knee pads and elbow pads on.
Elbow pads for show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got about 25 seconds here before we go to break at the top of the hour. And so far, pretty good show so far, listening in to Ghosts of the Great White North, which happens the third Wednesday of every month. And so far, it's pretty good. Merle will be back on Wednesday, September 18th. Don't know who our guest will be for that one just yet. We will work on that for you to bring you some really cool stories coming up when we come back. We're going to get into some hauntings, some cryptids. We're going to see if Amber can scare the daylights out of us with a cryptid tale. Hour 2 of Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com. Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to give a shout out to our terrestrial affiliates, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas. Down in Noonan, Georgia, we are on WQEE 99.1 FM, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, and down in Ridgecrest, California, we are on KZFX 93.7 FM. Translate for Canadians, KZFX 93.7 FM. We are also on digitally on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Oh my gosh, Ranunculatius? Ranunculatius is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the clam says the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. The third Wednesday of every month, we are joined by Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada. We call him Merle around these parts. And our special guest tonight, Amber Bekkerud from Spaced Out Radio's Cryptid Tales on our YouTube channel. You definitely want to check those out. It's Ghosts of the Great White North as we continue on with the crew here. Amber, thank you so much for joining Merle and I tonight.
No problem.
Now, you love dealing into these cryptid tales, these weird, strange stories that just don't make sense, that really, really have freaked out a lot of people. As you've been studying this, has there been a story that you have been able to uncover that just absolutely weirds you out?
To be quite honest, yes. And I'm really excited because I have the plan in the next couple of weeks to go there and do a full live investigation. But it's one that I learned while driving to go look at puffins with my partner's cousin. So, yeah, it's probably one of the creepiest, weirdest tales that I've heard in Canadian history for legends and folklore.
What is it? Give us a little taste here.
Just a little taste?
Yeah.
So in Newfoundland, one of the things that you have to understand about Newfoundland is that there is at least 2 places with the same name at all times. I don't know why there is that rule here, but when you talk about somewhere, you have to specify which part of the island you're talking about, because there's usually more than one place with the same name. But there is a little tiny ghost town called Chance Cove, and now it's a provincial park here. But this town was an entire village set along a beach shore, and they used to set up lanterns along the edge of the water to lure in ships, and then they would raid the ships and kill everybody on board and take all of their belongings. At like real life pirates, like 100% hardcore pirates. And that was how they made their living. That's how they got new clothing. That's how they got new supplies. That's how they kept their gardens growing, the whole 9 yards. And there is also talk that they used to eat everybody that they killed as well.
Oh, nice.
And this place was inhabited for quite some time, and it was about 60 to 70 people. And one night, and nobody has any explanation for it, but the entire town, there is documented records of the entire village packing up in the middle of the night and moving to Maine. No, left all their belongings, left everything, and just disappeared.
When in doubt, pack up and move to Maine. Why not?
I guess. But yeah, the folklore now around is that if you go to this old town site, you can still hear the people screaming, and you can see the lights along the water that they used to light up. And yeah, I'm really excited to get there.
Have you looked into any of the ghost ships that are said to roam around the harbors of anywhere from Nova Scotia to Newfoundland?
I've heard of a few, and I've definitely looked into quite a few. When I was in New Brunswick as a kid for a while, there were tales of a ghost ship around there. And I remember I used to spend hours sitting at dusk watching, hoping to see this ghost ship. And I mean, you know, I said it in my episode of Cryptid Tales yesterday, and I'll say it again now. I'm so excited to be in a place surrounded with this folklore of the sailors and the pirates and the things that they believed, because, I mean, ghost ships were omens, and, you know, the green flash that I talked about yesterday in Cryptid Tales was an omen. Or hearing, you know, women singing was an omen, or seeing lights under the water meant you weren't making it back to shore. So there's just so many things that I can sink my teeth into and hope that, I mean, I don't want to see lights under the water, but I would love to see a ghost ship.
Merle, do you buy the whole ghost ship process?
I do. There's cases out here of ghost ships, and same in the Caribbean. That's one thing I'd like to do, is go to the Caribbean and experience all the quote-unquote pirate ships that people see. So yeah, I buy it. I think it could be cool to see.
There's apparently a number of them, and we just had author Shannon Sin on a Monday night where he was talking about the ghost ships around Vancouver Island, where people are seeing these ships that are still sailing. To me, that just absolutely weirds me out, because when you see something in its physical form, never mind what you would see, off in the distance, but when you see something in its physical form that isn't supposed to be there, that's kind of weird. It's really kind of weird. I don't know how I would react to that. Really don't. When you are... Go ahead, Amber.
Well, I think you have to... It is one of those things, you know, I say that I really want to see these things, but I'm also like, I don't know how I'm going to react when I do see these things. I think it's that way with everything. You don't know how you're going to react when you see Sasquatch for the first time, if you ever see him. You know, I never imagined that I would see something like a skinwalker in real life. You know, you hear the stories of them, you see and see pictures that people have apparently caught on their trail cams and that kind of thing. And, you know, I never thought that I was going to see anything. And then on our move across the country in the middle of Alberta, broad daylight, I literally saw what you would classify as a skinwalker or as a rake crawling up the side of the ditch line, and I didn't know what to think. I was going 130 kilometers down the highway. So, you know, you never know how you're going to react in those situations, no matter how excited you might be to see the you know, thing in question.
Well, tell us about that. What did you see?
The way that I can even describe it is, you know, when you look at the pictures of the rake, there's one video that went viral like crazy of the humanoid creature with the elbows and knees kind of bent backwards. So it was on all fours, but like just joints were not where they should be. And it was open field for days. I mean, Alberta's prairie land. And like I said, broad daylight, it was like 2:00 in the afternoon. And I looked over and there was a driveway going through a field. And I kind of looked and I'm like, oh, maybe I'm just seeing like movement out of the corner of my eye because there's a car coming up. There was another side road that kind of followed the ditch line as well. And I thought maybe there was a car coming, so I was starting to slow down a little bit. And then when I actually looked over more, I watched it for a good 30 or 40 seconds crawl all the way up this driveway and just come straight up to the highway and then disappear. And I actually had to stop and be like, did I see that? Am I hallucinating? Am I just too tired from driving? Like, what is happening? And I mean, I had gotten a good night's sleep the night before. I was awake. I wasn't, you know, feeling drained or anything like that. I don't know what prompted it. I don't know why I saw it, but it was unbelievable.
When you hear a story like that, Merle, I know you're more of a paranormal guy, but when you hear a story like that about having that weird, strange experience where all Amber's doing is driving around in her car trying to get from the Yukon over to Newfoundland, and you know, well, Alberta's a weird place too. I mean, you actually may have seen my mother-in-law or my former mother-in-law crawling out of the ditch there. You never know. You really never know. But nonetheless, when you hear a story like that, Merle, and the way it's just kind of you know, freaking her out, and you can hear the passion and the emotion in her voice on seeing that. I mean, a lot of people have those first-time experiences that they just cannot explain or understand. How do you go about explaining those types of stories to people who are really trivialized by what they saw?
I'm processing this story. It's a cool story. I've read a lot of accounts of skinwalkers. Like there's the famous Skinwalker Ranch in the States that people talk about and go to and whatnot. So yeah, I think it's believable because you do see some weird things when you're driving. You do see weird things in the middle of the nowhere, in the middle of, you know what I mean. But I had a first time encounter. I've been very closed off to UFOs because I 100% was on the fence about them just because I've never seen them. I need to see to believe. But I actually had a first-time experience where I'll admit it, Dave, I saw a UFO.
Finally you admit it. You got aliens, buddy. You got aliens.
Well, it could have been the U.S. military, but we'll go with UFO. I'm kidding. It was a UFO. I was in Wolf Creek, Oregon, and we were setting our gear up to do some night shots outside. And the old German looks up and she goes, "There's a UFO." I'm like, "No, there's not," without me even looking up. And she's like, "Yes, there is. Look." I'm like, "No." So then stubborn me looks up anyways. And there were 3 lights, like a triangle. You could predominantly see the 2 of them, but then there was one, and it was silent. It was hovering over us. So I tried to get a good video. I think in the video, you saw the video. You could see the lights.
Yes, I did.
Your followers did not like my video. But yeah, that was the UFO. I couldn't explain it because it was fairly close to us. But it was the eerie part was the silence. You didn't hear the jet engines. You didn't hear the turbines. You didn't hear a helicopter. It was just quiet. And then it kind of just shuttled away. So, yeah. First time.
What was your reaction? What was going through your mind?
The first thing that went through my mind, I better show Dave.
Of course.
Then I'm like, oh, yeah. Then I'm like, better show Eric Cooper. And then I showed the German the video, and she's like, yeah, that's UFO. So then I sent it to you, and then we called you when we got back in, and yeah.
It was all Merle, man.
Yeah. So.
Well, but for you, Mike, as somebody who is a non-believer in UFOs, and you and I have kind of jokingly argued about this for a long time now, a couple of years. I mean, it was something that you were quite in denial about. And I mean that with all due respect.
It's true.
You know, so when you all of a sudden captured on film, you did what very few people actually do, and that's actually point their camera up in the sky with a steady hand. You know, how did you react to it, though? What was your feeling when you were looking at this?
I automatically assumed it was the U.S. military or some sort of military thing going on. That's probably why I was calm filming it, because I didn't believe it at first. But upon looking at the video a couple times again, and the lack of noise it was making is what convinced me. I'm like, you hear planes, you hear helicopters, that's it. It's UFO. No other explanation. So it was cool. It was cool. I'll admit it, Dave. It was cool, okay?
Well, it's about time. It's about time, Merle, that you woke up to the aliens in the sky, man, because that's all it's about.
Yeah. I agree.
But,
that was good.
But on a serious note now, do you consider yourself a believer in ufology now because of this experience?
I consider myself a dabbler, for sure. I'm more open to it. So I guess it's probably like with ghosts. Being more open to it, you'll probably be more receptive to things. So this is just the journey at the beginning of my UFO life. But yeah, on a serious note, yeah, I would be open to it a lot more. I automatically am not writing it off. And I'm willing to listen more than be stubborn and set in my ways, because I was proven wrong when I took that video and when she showed out the UFO in the sky. So, yes.
Amber, what's your thoughts on hearing that?
That's crazy. I mean, I've seen things in the sky that I can't explain. And I'm definitely the same way. I would have been like, oh no, it's just the military, it's just planes. But, like you said, if you can't hear anything, that's what makes it more real. No matter how high up in the sky, you still hear a plane if you're listening close enough. So to have utter and complete silence, that would be a very surreal moment for me too. So I think that would cause me to think about things a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Amber, what's a UFO experience you've had that you'd like to share? As we got about 5 minutes before we go to break here.
Ooh, honestly, I think it was along the same lines as what you just described. And, there was no other explanation for it. It was out at night, clear sky, nothing around, no noise pollution, and just these lights in the sky. And for where we were, which was up in the Yukon in the middle of nowhere with no technology. So there's no cell phone towers, no electricity lines, nothing like that around us. There was nothing to really interfere with anything. And seeing very predominant lights in the sky and watching them for a period of time and just wondering what they are when you can pull out, I have an app on my phone that shows you the trajectory of satellites, and being able to determine it's not a satellite, it's not a plane, there's no helicopters around. It's a very surreal moment. I've also had a lot of time loss happen. So, there's the other question there. Is that just rips in the space-time continuum, or is that actually aliens messing with you at the end of the day? So there's a lot of up in the air.
A couple tours ago. Yeah, go ahead, Merle.
I was just going to say one thing to add. So that night it happened, maybe you can attest to this or just clarify what I'm trying to say. The energy in the town felt weird. It felt off, felt wrong, felt like we were being watched and doing something wrong. I don't know if it was the residue of the investigation we did at Golden that night, but it was just weird. And then, even the town folk, just everything was off. But then after the ship was gone, it was like business as usual.
It's very strange how that works. Very strange how that works. I know I did a ghost tour a couple weeks ago, and a guy came up to me afterwards, after talking to Bazooka Joe, and he's like, "Can I talk to you for a second? Because I hear you're a UFO guy." And oh, sure. What the hell? I always like a good story. And this guy starts telling me about when he was 15 years old. He was working at a summer camp for kids, and he went missing for 7 hours. Has no clue where he went. Has no clue where he ended up. And apparently they were just walking through this forest on a tour. And he just remembers waking up 7.5 hours later. He was found in a bush, lying on the ground, almost unconscious, coming in and out, by a group of searchers. Like the camp that he was at literally started a search party for him. They called in the police. They called in everything. Nobody knew where he went. And 7 hours later, he was found in the bushes where they'd already been. Right? It's absolutely amazing when this happens. We have to wonder why. I asked him, have you thought about going under hypnotherapy? Finding out, he goes, no, I don't really want to. He's like, I'm not sure I want to know what happened. He goes, there's one side of me that says, I need to know. He goes, but the other side of fear of learning what actually happened, that's a whole different story. So, I mean, people have troubles with this. People have troubles with trying to figure out their own reality, especially when something that isn't real comes to fruition. And that's where it gets a little eerie and scary, Amber.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And when you go through that, as we only got about 20 seconds here before we got to go to break, when you go through that, Merle, you can really see the emotions on people's faces and in the way they act. Would you agree?
I do agree, because I was actually serious when I was taking the video.
Yeah. Well, you might see more now, because once you see one, you usually end up seeing more. Mike Morin, we call him Merle. Amber Bekkerud, Ghost of the Great White North. Happens the third Wednesday of every month. We'll be back with more ghost stories, haunted tales, cryptid tales, hair tales, Merle tales, all on Spaced Out Radio. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com. A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. How y'all doing out there? I am Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us. Reminder, if you've missed most of this show or others, you can always go over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. The third Wednesday of every month, we have Ghosts of the Great White North. Yes, that means Merle is back, as it's all Merle all day, all night. Mike Morin from Haunted Crew of Canada, as well as Amber Bekkerud, our special guest tonight, from Cryptid Tales on our YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out. Amber's videos are absolutely awesome. Merle, welcome back. I got to ask you, man, right off the bat, what's it like almost being killed on a paranormal investigation by a haunted doll?
It's spooky. I'll tell you the story. This isn't Quinnell. Off air, we were talking about different places, and Quinnell is one that stood out for me. So basically, there's Mandy the Haunted Doll. She's an old German, they say German death doll. They don't really know where she comes from. But they say you can hear her running around the museum at night. She used to be able to get out of the cabinet, kind of like an Annabelle-style thing. The previous team I was on, we went up and investigated Mandy the doll. And one of our investigators, another thing, you're not supposed to stare in her eyes. So what does he do? He stares in her eyes, and he trances out. We couldn't wake him up for about. He's staring at her, and we couldn't move him. It was like kind of like a statue for about 10 minutes. Then he kind of broke free of that, and then he went outside and he puked his guts out, basically. And then I kind of looked at Mandy the doll, and I did make eye contact. I'm like, uh-oh. But then before we started investigation, I wanted to go outside. And I forget what I was getting, a snack or a drink. Anyhow, what I remember was going outside, and then I remember going towards my vehicle at the time. But then I kind of black out. And that was the last thing I remember. Then what I remember from there is one of our investigators coming up shaking me as I was walking towards Highway 1 into oncoming traffic. And I was totally tranced out, and I blame the doll for that to this day.
And that's a busy highway. That's a busy highway. Yeah, I mean, it's the main highway going into northern British Columbia. There's a lot of traffic in there. And literally, this doll that put you in a trance wanted you to die.
Because I doubted her and her power. Mentally. She won.
I'm speechless.
She won. I don't like to tell that story because it's weird, but I guess that's what we talk about, right?
It's kind of what we talk about, Merle. It's kind of what we talk about. You know, Amber, what's your thoughts hearing that for the first time?
That's crazy. Like, I'm actually speechless. I mean, I grew up every single summer in Quesnel, so I've been, all over that area. I've been to Barkerville. I've been to the museum, and I've seen her. I've been in her presence, and yeah, I mean, there's definitely an energy with her. That I will definitely say. And I think maybe just because all the experiences I've had with her were while I was young, I had no reason to doubt what her power was, or what she could do just from that childhood optimism. But yeah, I would blame the doll too. Like, hands down, I would blame the doll too. That's insane.
Yeah, it was a good night.
Now, have you been back to visit Mandy since then?
We were back in April. I had a good conversation with Mandy when Ross was up. And everything was fine. I guess Mandy and I were on good terms that day. And yeah, no, nothing happened. None of our team members reported any abnormalities either. We did touch on it. They did know of the stories going in to what kind of doll she could be. Yeah, no, it was okay.
Well, we should also point out, too, that Ross Allison and David Weatherly, who will be our guest tomorrow night on the show, have co-written a book about the 10 most haunted dolls in North America, or pardon me, in the world. And in North America, Mandy was the only one that they hadn't had interaction with until they came up here last September, and we were able to introduce them to Mandy. And now Ross has come back again, and I believe the only doll they haven't seen personally on that list is in Australia, which is kind of creepy. You know, not Australia being creepy, but the doll over there being creepy. Yeah, Letta, that's the one. That's the one. So
Letta the doll.
I don't know, this whole doll thing, it just freaks me out. Haunted dolls in general freak me out because you have to realize that if you don't know, a doll was originally supposed to be a keeper of a soul. So when a child died, put the heart of the whole soul inside of that doll, and they were supposed to come to life. That's the legend, at least. It's a little freaky, Amber.
Yeah, that dolls are 100% hands down the one thing that I am not allowed to bring into the house. My partner has had really bad experiences with haunted dolls, and she absolutely refuses to have them in the house or go anywhere near them. We can't even watch videos about haunted dolls on YouTube because it will trigger so many memories for her. So, yeah. Dolls are creepy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them. Not a fan of them whatsoever. They just kind of, I don't know. There's just something weird about them that just doesn't make sense. Especially the ones that have really human-like facial features.
Or when they start using human hair.
Yes. Human hair is not a good one. Not a good one at all. When you look at it.
No, it's weird. I'll just say it. It's weird.
Merle, you're a fan, though. You do it.
No. I am not a doll guy.
Here I thought you were. Continuing on, I mean, with haunted objects, Mike, because, you know, it was kind of cool. When I took out Bill Hauser a couple weeks ago, when he was up here, I took him out to Flight 21, the crash site. And the rescue, and you've seen them. The rescue workers had cans of pop that were, or soda pop, if we're listening in America. Up here we call it pop, just pop. And we had, there was cans that were off from the site, but that's kind of where they just kind of threw their cans. And I had asked permission to take a couple of these cans. And on Bill's ghost box, we had a yes, you can when I asked permission. So I took a couple of them. They weren't by the flight and the wreckage. They were more off to the side. And with that, I'll tell you, I will donate them to Ross Allison's museum, his haunted museum in Seattle. But I'll tell you, it's a little weird. It's a little weird having what could potentially be haunted objects in the studio here. Now, a lot of people may not like that, but I did get permission, so you got to bear with me on that. You know, I didn't do anything wrong. But haunted objects, when you are dealing with them, Mike, and you're starting to collect them now, what's the thrill of trying to collect something that could be potentially haunted and bringing it into your home?
I don't have an answer for that. It's weird. It's kind of like a quirky thing a lot of ghost hunters seem to do. Maybe it's because not me, but maybe some take their work home with them, or it could be trophies too, like what Ed and Lorraine Warren did. For every investigation they did or helped, they always brought the object in question home with them, so they had their haunted museum. So I know other ghost hunters on different teams, paranormal investigators, they bring objects home to bring resolution to the family. Like, say if I came to your house, Dave, and you had a Coke can that was haunted, and you didn't want anything to be haunted, some teams will provide a service of like, hey, we'll take it, we'll deal with it, we'll safekeepings, get rid of it for you, so you no longer have a haunting. So I know a lot of teams do that. It's like when I was talking about the sewing box earlier. I don't know what drew me to that or drew me to take it home, but it sits in my kitchen because I can't have it anywhere near my personal space.
Amber, do you collect haunted objects outside of dolls?
Slowly, yes. It is something that we are getting into, but 99% of the haunted objects we have in the house, we have come across unknowingly. I know actually about maybe 2 weeks after we did the episode back in April together, we went to our used bookstore and went and got a bunch of books, and we had been having issues in the house with seeing shadow people and figures, and usually we have a pretty good handle on what happens in our household and what we allow in and what we don't. And we just couldn't figure out what was doing it. And it got to the point where my partner texted me while I was at work one night, and she's like, this is BS. I'm leaving the house. You can pick me up on your way home. And she actually, got out of the house and started walking until I came down the road to pick her up. And we went back to the house, and finally I took out my pendulum and established the yes and no directions and started asking questions. And we had somebody answer, and we said, are you attached to a book in the house? Because that was the only new thing that we had brought in, was a very small selection of books. So we had them out in front of us, and then I held the pendulum over each book and asked if this was the book until we found which one it was. And it was a little Latin grammar book from probably the early 1900s. And we asked if they were male or female, and we got the response that they were female. And then we said, are you what we're seeing in the house? Are you the shadow person? Are you the thing that we are experiencing that is causing all this unrest? And the answer was no. And we said, okay, well, is that thing following you? And the answer was yes. And so we asked if they wanted us to cleanse the book in a way that they could still be around, but whatever it was that was attached to them couldn't find them anymore. And the answer was yes again. So we ended up saging and doing a ritual and cleansing this book. And we asked if there was anything else that they wanted before we ended our session. And the answer was yes. And so we said, okay, well, do you want us to put the book down at a level you can reach it? And the answer was yes. And we have since kept the book at about the level of a child because we kept seeing a light trying to get to where the book was, but it could never make it. So we figure it was a child attached to this book for whatever reason. And they were upset that they couldn't reach their book. And whatever this other dark energy was also preventing that. And since then, we've, had no problems. And we'll see a light every once in a while over by the book. And that's that. So, yeah, we tend to pick things up that we just don't know are haunted until it's either too late or somebody has a dream about it.
Well, it is one of those things that intrigues people. It's something that is very, very interesting to a lot of people. They want that conversation piece, but for others, it's literally about, well, at least I somewhat know what I'm doing, Mike, and I better take this off somebody's hands who may not be able to control what's going on. Merle?
Sorry, can you repeat what you said? The microphone, it went all underwater sounding when you were talking.
Well, what I was saying is a lot of times people collect these items because it's easier to keep them from people who don't know the potential powers that may lie in it comparatively to somebody who is a paranormal investigator and has at least somewhat of a clue.
Yeah, that's true. But then it comes to, what does the paranormal investigator do with that item? Do they throw it away or do they hoard them? A lot of the investigators nowadays hoard them because, A, they chase the dragon, so to speak, with the investigations and the thrill of speaking to the afterlife. Or, B, they take a page out of Ed and Lorraine Warren's book and they start their own museum. They start their own keepsake area that they show and educate people with. Like, I know other investigators that'll go on paranormal conventions and they will bring haunted items with them and use them as educational tools to show the public or people that are watching them speak at their workshops and everything, which I think is actually pretty cool to do.
Well, I think it's great that you could bring them around and you could kind of show them off a little bit. And Ross Allison has a great museum in Seattle that we've talked about. Greg and Dana Newkirk also have a traveling haunted museum that they take with them to different conferences and everything. And I think that's great as well. I mean, people want to see this. They want to be able to interact. They want to be able to face their fears potentially right in front of them. But for those who are experiencing it in their home, is it important to get that object out rather than just cleansing it in the home of where it belonged? Or maybe the bar, maybe the place of work, the office, wherever it may be.
A lot of cases that I've gone on, people where they'll have haunted objects or areas that are haunted, they don't want us to take it. They just want us to resolve the issue, which is a lot easier to do than taking an item, in my opinion. Because it sometimes wrecks the energy in places. Because, say, a lot of times people don't want a haunted object, but they don't mind a ghost being in their place, which sounds kind of weird because it's both the same sort of thing. But if you cleanse the object, they're usually fine with that. Because I feel objects can also hold people's emotions, thoughts of the past, and all of that sort of stuff. Like you take an old wooden trunk from the 1700s, it has the energy of everyone that's owned it, everyone that's been around it, things that's been around. So yeah, a lot of energy and spirits could hold on to that. But if you want that trunk, you may call in a team to cleanse it, or you may even cleanse it yourself, so it's just a trunk with no energy.
Amber, do you look for haunted objects? Is that what intrigues kind of your next move into the foray of the paranormal?
Yes and no. I've definitely, scoured the eBay listings of haunted items, and, I think it's better to stumble upon those items unknowingly or, at a yard sale or from somebody that you can talk to in person versus getting an object off the internet. People will do anything to make a buck. So whether, the items that are out there for sale online that are advertised as haunted are actually haunted or not could be a very different story. But I think right now I'm not about to go looking for it, but I have definitely stumbled upon it, and it has found me instead.
Do you believe that it is a path that you should go down?
I don't think that it's necessarily a bad path to go down. I definitely agree with Mike in saying, if you can use those things for educational purposes at the end of the day, that's a huge thing. That's a big thing, especially for, the paranormal community as a whole, and gaining a deeper understanding of what life after death is and what things do get attached to and why they're attached to those items, and, almost completing the story, if you will.
Mike, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I've looked on eBay as well. I've looked on all those. You could buy like the haunted Dybbuk boxes or grandma's old coin box with demons in it. I've thought about, if you purchase those sort of things, they're your problem now. I never go looking or searching for haunted items. We come across them all the time as investigators. Like I just sent you those pictures of the haunted doll in your Facebook chat thing. But yeah, no, educational purposes I'm for, but I don't understand why you'd want to collect them.
Oh, a lot of people, I guess, just want the thrill.
Agreed.
They want the thrill.
It's a pretty cool thrill.
We got about a minute to go here before we go to break here at the top of the hour, as we're almost 2 hours down. My question to you, Mike, is there an object that you wouldn't bring into your house?
The real Annabelle would be one. That would be the one that comes right to my head. I wouldn't want to bring in any of those old Dybbuk boxes because I've seen and read a lot of pretty horrible things about them. People have put like demons inside them, so they say. There's a lot of fake ones on the internet you can buy, a lot of cool reproduction ones. But there are a lot of those actual real ones that have people's teeth, hair, glasses, all of their personal attachments, all candle waxed into these old boxes with like the old Hebrew writing all over them, all the Hebrew prayers, keeping those demons inside them. Also, haunted Ouija boards. As much as I like Ouija boards, I wouldn't want any of the really old haunted ones.
Oh, I know somebody who will pay good money for that.
Ross.
Good money. Robert Murch, the head of the Ouija Board Society. He definitely would. Definitely would. So if you find one of those, make sure you let him know. That's for sure. That is totally for sure. Mike, you hold on. Amber, you stay comfy as we got you guys for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio's Ghosts of the Great White North as we continue on with tonight's show in Hour 3, and then we get to the SOR Newswire, the thought of the day to wrap things up. Stay tuned. More Spaced Out Radio right after this.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Appreciate each and every one of you joining us for tonight. We want to say hello to everyone listening in on KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. We are on UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Down in Dangerfield, Texas, we are on KDNF AM 1560. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ranunculaceous. Ranunculaceous. What the hell is ranunculaceous? Nobody knows what it means, but the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can rock out to Bumblefoot. You can also read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and soon, much, much more. For the final time tonight, we introduce Mike Morin. We call him Merle around these parts, for Ghosts of the Great White North, which happens the third Wednesday of every month. And our special guest tonight, Amber Bekkerud from Spaced Out Radio's Cryptid Tales on our YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out. Give our YouTube page a like as well. We'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on back.
No problem.
My pleasure.
Now, Amber, you just released a new video on our YouTube channel about the green flash. What's that all about?
Well, I mean, I don't want to give too much away. People can go watch the video. But the green flash is one of the bigger, well-known sailor legends, I guess. But there's also been legends coming as far back from Scottish tales of this green flash about how it marks the passing of a soul back from the underworld or Davy Jones' locker into the land of the living. And for those of you who are like, I've heard this somewhere, they covered it on Pirates of the Caribbean. So it's definitely something that has been up for debate about whether it is actually, that symbol of a soul returning to the land of the living, or if it is just the sky and the air doing its thing the way that it does and refracting light in a certain way to make a cool effect.
Is it real? Is it haunted?
That's, to anybody who is a sailor, they take those things very seriously. Pirates took them very seriously. And people today, especially in coastal communities, definitely live by that folklore and live by those legends. You know, there's the saying, red sky at night, sailor's delight, red sky at morn, sailors ye be warned. And I can tell you without a doubt that here in Newfoundland, for sure, everybody lives by that. If you have a red sky at night, you know it's going to be a good day out on the water. You go out, you go fishing, and everybody's happy. But if you don't have a red sky at night and you have it in the morning when the sun is rising, you're more cautious, whether you just don't go out at all or you are very eagle-eyed on the weather and your surroundings. So, yeah, I think there's something to it a little bit more than just science and, you know, Mother Nature doing its thing.
When it comes to legends, how much should we actually put into these? Because I think for a lot of people, I mean, we go around and we look at these legends and we try our best to want to believe them. We want to believe what is going on. We want to, you know, have that experience. You know, I look at my town, there's a legend of a lady named Agnes McVie who has allegedly killed 60-plus people throughout her days during the Gold Rush Trail. And in the meantime, that story has no proof. It has no anything in regards to what is going on. And Mike, you have investigated up here quite a bit. You know the story about the legend of Agnes McVie. We've debated this numerous times, whether or not it's true or not. And we really cannot tell what is going on and why we want to believe these little local legends, even though, for the most part, there is no proof of it all. Why do you think we go down that path? Is it just the want to believe?
I think there's a truth to every legend. It's like, yeah, I think there's a truth to every legend. I'm not saying that all legends are true. I mean, it stems from something and is amplified 1,000-fold. Do I believe Agnes McVie was up there? Yes, because history records show that there was an Agnes McVie that lived in that area, and there was an Agnes McVie that died in New Westminster, brought down from that area. Those are all in the archives. However, do I think she killed a ton of minors and stole a bunch of young girl prostitutes for the area? Maybe not to the extent as it's amplified in your town. I think that maybe she did do some shady things, and maybe a couple of minors went missing along the way with their gold. But then I also think it creates a giant wives' tales, because back in those days, they did not document it like we do now. So it could be Dave's great-great-great-grandpa telling a story about Agnes killed 2 people, whereas the next grandparent will say Agnes killed 8 people, but she was really bad. And then the next grandparent will say 12 people. So I think that's how things like that amplify.
But in every town along the highways, doesn't matter where you are in this world, there always seems to be a local legend, whether it's of a witch, whether it's of a ghost, whether it's of a Bigfoot, murderers, you name it. There's always these legends. And when we trip on these legends because we want them to make our town seem a little bit more interesting, especially if you're in a little boring town like I am, you bank on that for tourism. I don't believe for a second that it isn't a tourist attraction that brings a lot of these people in. I mean, when you think of Roswell, you think aliens right off the bat, right? You don't think of anything else. And there's all of these right across North America in these small little villages and communities where people play it up. I remember last year traveling to Eric Cooper's Paracon, or 2 years ago, pardon me, going through Washington State and through the mountains and coming across this town, this old town that was built in the mid-1800s, still pretty much the same. It's gorgeous. It's in the middle of nowhere of the mountains of Washington. And yet everything, every store you go into, it's all about Sasquatch. All about Sasquatch, everywhere you go. Harrison Hot Springs in British Columbia, all about Sasquatch. And these towns try and capitalize off it, which why wouldn't they? But how many of them? How many of them should we actually believe?
That's a good point. I think it stems, like I said, it stems from something. It's just amplified for attention.
Amber, what's your thoughts? I mean, you have traveled right across Canada now and a lot of places around, and you've heard a lot of these little legends and folklore that go around. Are they pretty much just as such?
Well, I think it comes down to, what I said earlier in the show is, there is a thread of truth at the core of every legend. But, I agree in the fact that, it's like the telephone game. You start at one end and you say something and you watch how it evolves over time, and you watch how more amplified or how crazy it gets. And so I think, yeah, there very well could have been this little old lady who was, like Mike said, doing shady things. But whether she actually did it to the extent that now the legends have, that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed, even doing my own research, is I'll go looking for a story and there'll be 6 different versions of it. And then you have to sit there and go, okay, well, which version is the real one? What do you believe? What is the actual account, or what is just people hyping up to try and make it more attractive? Or, yeah, I think even just driving across Canada, everybody's going to have some form of tale or legend or sighting. There's Ogopogo in BC, but there's also one that's spotted in Ontario. And Sasquatch is all over North America thing, but then you get down into, South America and you have their version, and then you get into Europe and Russia and you have the Yeti, and I don't know. It's hard to say. Obviously, there's something out there that has caused, these stories to come through. It's just a matter of whether it really is all real or not, or truly that bad.
With the legends, though, that go around, do you think that people have pretty much forgotten to actually investigate them, Amber, to really go deep into what they're all about, rather than just telling the stories that have been shared around for ages?
100%. I think now in this day and age, we take things so much at face value. And, if we get all the information that we want to hear at the first viewing of it, we don't look into it deeper. We do it with news articles. We do it with everything. So why not with legends and folklore and stories that have evolved over time? It's something to be said that you can look back and say, well, yes, there was this lady who lived here at this time, and, we can track where she went and what she did to a certain extent. Knowing that information does give some body to the story that you've been telling all of this time. But I don't think people take the time to actually investigate, which is why I love doing it and why I want to take the time to actually look into it and, find why these stories came about in the first place.
Mike, as a paranormal investigator, when it comes to going to some of these smaller towns that have these legends that are going on, do you think they add to the paranormal, or do you think that they could be some sort of tulpa that has been created by the energy from people putting the energy into these stories?
I think it's column A, column B. I'll use Wolf Creek Inn in Oregon as an example. So the Wolf Creek Inn and Tavern, it was on shows like Ghost Adventures. It's been on a bunch of other paranormal shows. And when I went there to go investigate, I'm like, oh, cool, this is gonna be cool. But then when we all go to check in, like in the check-in area of the inn, we notice the wall is all Bigfoot stuff. So we're kind of scratching our head, and we're like, and then the other wall's ghost stuff. Like you could buy shirts there saying, "This is my ghost hunting shirt," and in the rack beside it was Oregon, the state of Sasquatch, or something like that. So it's confusing. So I think the small towns, they grasp at straws to bring in business, which is good on them. But it's kind of confusing if you're going in there to go ghost hunting. You don't know if, since Wolf Creek's in the mountains, it's like, well, all right, we're going to go ghost hunting at 11 p.m., but then maybe in the afternoon we'll go for a nice Bigfoot stroll. So, yeah, I think they do hold on to things like that. Because in Oregon, I'm just saying this because I was there, all the little small towns really go for Bigfoot. So, yeah.
I like the legends. I think it's smart. I think it's something that is intriguing, and it's something that keeps me going, because I think when you go through a lot of these small towns, especially hearing the legends that go along with them, I think is fantastic. I think it's something that really allows us to dig into the folklore that a lot of people have in their communities. We got about 8 minutes left until we got to say goodnight to both of you, Amber and Mike. In regards to hauntings, as we get back to the paranormal here for a quick second, or a couple minutes, I should say. Mike, is there a case or a type of case that you just want nothing to do with, and you feel that maybe paranormal teams maybe push the limits a little bit too far on?
Personally, I don't like children's stuff. Maybe it's because I'm a dad, but I don't like to deal with dead kids or anything like that. I know there's a lot of teams that'll like try and play games or toys with children's spirits. I know it's all part of the investigation, but personally for me, I don't like that. I'm more sensitive to that. But I don't think teams should go into historical. I think they should stay away from historical places in regards to like certain war sites. I think those should be a no-no.
Why is that?
Like World War II sites. I think there's some World War II sites. I'm not going to go into them where I don't think I've heard of teams muttering how they'd like to go into certain sites, but I think out of respect, some certain sites should be left alone. So yeah, I think there's a limit to investigating the paranormal. Me, it's kids. I don't like to investigate that stuff.
Amber, what about you?
I think to a degree, I definitely have to agree on that one. I will not actively go looking to investigate things that have to do with children. I always said from day one when I started doing my paramedic stuff that children calls will be my downfall. So I think that will be just as true with paranormal investigation. Things to do with kids will be my downfall. And I think the catch-22 of that for me is that, the spirits that I see and hear and deal with throughout my life have almost solely been children. So the one thing that I say I don't want to go and investigate always ends up just coming to me instead. So I think I'm a little bit stuck there. But, I think also cemeteries is a line for me. I absolutely will refuse to do an investigation in a cemetery. And solely just because, I don't want to disturb the peace that is there. I'll go walk through them and I will go pay my respects and I will, admire the cemeteries and the landscape. And, I went out a few days ago and we were putting headstones back on their blocks that had fallen over and stuff, just to show that respect to all of these people who have passed on. But I will not go and investigate in a cemetery at all.
Yeah, they kind of creep me out. I'm not a big fan of that. Like, I don't mind wandering through a cemetery every now and again. I really don't. I think it's educational. I like being able to, kind of see what's going on. Children's graves absolutely choke me up, and that's probably from me being a dad as well. But in the end, I do believe that, investigating a cemetery is not right. That being said, I really don't have a problem with a home or a business being investigated, or a park, or a forest. I think that's what brings the intrigue to the paranormal and the way it needs to be studied. However, as long as dead people are in cemeteries, I guess paranormal groups are going to go, Amber.
Yeah, and that's just it, and I have seen a couple of channels on YouTube that have done investigations in cemeteries, and I applaud them for how respectful they have been, and how kind they have been to what they've done for investigations, and they haven't gone actually to stir anything up or do anything like that. They've gone in solely with the purpose of saying, if there's anything you would like to say, this is your chance to say it. If there's anything you want to get off your chest or things like that. So I do admire that aspect of it. But yeah, as long as dead people are buried in cemeteries, people are going to go no matter what. So,
Mike, what about something like indigenous grounds?
With permission, I don't see a problem with it. Would I go on to burial grounds and do investigations or indigenous land? Probably not. I would always get permission to do it. I just also think it's bad juju to not do that, because I know they protect their dead loved ones a little different than we do, so to speak. So yeah, no, I wouldn't go on indigenous land without getting permission. But to touch on the graveyard thing, I've been kind of chomping at the bit about that when you guys are talking about it. I investigate graveyards, I'll admit it. However, I do a little different spin on it. I ask for permission to be there. I ask if there's anyone that wants to speak to us, come speak to us, and I always advise that we are there with respect, especially all the old pioneer cemeteries. I like the really old pioneer cemeteries because a lot of those people died suddenly. They died tragically. They didn't have their story told. They didn't get their last messages to their loved ones said, or they didn't get whatever that was off their chest. So sometimes I feel like it's my job to be able to give them the opportunity to speak through our gear or anything that we bring with us.
And, I do actually really need to agree with that, because I get the same way. I feel exactly the same way about things, especially like you said about, people who have died suddenly, tragically, and things like that. So, that being said, if I like how you approach it. I like that that's what you do and that you ask for permission to be there. And I think that'd probably be the only way that I would go and do it myself is, establishing that it was okay and that, you're not there to hurt them and that kind of thing.
Some of my best EVPs have been from forgotten cemeteries in the middle of nowhere when, for example, driving up to Dave's house or driving down to the United States and all these old deserted highway roads where a bunch of people were buried there in the 1800s, but that's it. So yeah. When I drive to Dave's, there's a couple cemeteries along the way that I've stopped at, and I've thrown my recorder out there by myself and done like a 20-25 minute session. And you get some pretty neat EVPs where people will say thanks or hi. A lot of times they say hi or hello. And yeah, I think sometimes they just want to talk because they've been alone.
You got that right. Merle, Amber, we got to say goodnight to both of you. Ghost of the Great White North. Another edition, come and gone. We will talk to Merle on September 18th. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day, so stay tuned.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today. Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you, and I appreciate the opportunity to do so. Thank you so much for tuning us in. If you've missed most of this show or others, you can always go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Speaking of the Newswire, let's get to it. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where sometimes it gets a little real around here, like this one in Alaska. An intrusive moose crashed into an Alaskan family's pool party and was filmed drinking water from the pool before stealing a taco. Anna Anderson said her daughters were having a pool party in the backyard of their home when the girls were suddenly sent running by an unexpected moose. Anderson's video that she captured shows the moose drinking water from the pool, and then it walks on over to one of the plates of the girls and grabs itself a taco. Yeah, Anderson wrote on her social media pages, "Someone crashed my three daughters' pool party. One daughter's still pretty upset about her taco being touched." Oh, that could go so wrong. So wrong. The moose ate the taco. That is one smart moose. Who doesn't like a good taco every now and again? Even moose are down with tacos. I can't get a taco in my town for the life of me. I got to make it my own. Nobody wants that. I'm Canadian. We can't make a good taco up here. You'd think they'd put in a Taco Bell. No. Punishing. Absolutely punishing. All right. A German city that's the subject of a long-running joke alleging that it does not exist is offering a $1.1 million reward to anyone who can prove the conspiracy theory true. The mayor of Bielefeld says the 800-year-old city will award the cash to anyone who can present convincing evidence that the city does not exist. Jokes about Bielefeld begin fictionally, but became prominent on the internet after computer science student Akeem Held posted the claim online in 1994 as a means of satirizing far-fetched conspiracy theories. We are excited about the creative submissions and are 99.9% sure that we will be able to refute any claims, Martin Nobbenreich said. Yeah, the city exists. Be kind of cool if somebody could cash in on that, though. Make yourself a millionaire. Prove it wrong. Prove the city wrong. Okay, this one I don't like. We're sticking in Germany here for a second. Would you want to know when you die? Think about that. Not me. Subject gives me the heebie-jeebies. I have enough anxiety about death in the first place. It'll keep me up all night long. That's why I kind of stay up all hours of the night. Freaked out about sleeping because you're one day closer to the eventual. Well, apparently, there is a new blood test that could predict if you or when you will die, if you will die in the next decade with more than an 80% accuracy. The groundbreaking test, which can estimate a person's risk of early death, was found in Germany. And they say it could be used to warn people they do not have long to live, encouraging them to live a healthier lifestyle. The breakthrough was made after taking blood samples of 44,168 people. Scientists then analyzed 14 factors that appear to affect the risk of death, including immunity, glucose control, inflammation, and circulating fat. Yeah, using the information collected during the trial, they were able to predict whether someone was going to die within the next 2 to 16 years with an 83% accuracy. During the trial, researchers from the Max Planck Institute for Biology of Aging analyzed the blood of thousands of adults ranging from 18 years old to 109 years old. At first, they were tested on conventional factors of death, such as their BMI, blood pressure, smoking, etc., and then the academics used the biomarkers from the new blood test. Participants were given a score ranging from -2 to 3. The higher the number, the more likely the person was going to die sooner. Follow-up tests over the next 2 to 16 years found that more than 5,512 of the participants had died. The new test has predicted the risk of death with 83% accuracy once again, better than the 79% of current tests. I don't want to know this. Like, don't take my blood to tell me, oh, by the way, old Dave, you're not going to see 52 or 68. Oh, it's 10 years, so 56? I don't want to know this. It would suck if my family doctor did that. Totally suck. All right. How'd you like to pay $35,400 for a cat named Mr. Whiskers? That's how much a pet cloning company in China is charging for the first kitten the country has created in genetical science. Yeah, the cuddly clone kitten was born July 21st. Garlic, a British shorthair, was created by Beijing-based company Sinogene Biotechnology. The company has become known in China for its dog cloning projects. Sinogene announced this week that, thanks to Garlic, it will offer a cat cloning service in addition to the one it already offers for dogs. Sinogene customers looking to clone their cats will have to cough up over $35,000 US, but they can take comfort in the fact that they're not cloning a dog, which the company charges $53,800 US for. Company said it made genetic copies of 20 dogs in 2018, plans to clone 500 dogs a year within the next 5 years. This year, the company was also involved in creating a puppy clone called Kunjun, which was bred using DNA from an award-winning police sniffer dog called Hua Huangma. The Kunming police dog base described Hua Huangma as one in 1,000. Sinogene argues cloning could be a better way of preserving the genetics of such animals, helping to cut training costs. Not everyone agrees, though. The body can be cloned, but the soul can't, said one comment. on social media, who was because I guess it was echoing singer Barbara Streisand, who was one of the first high-profile people to have her pet cloned. Pet cloning is a controversial business, but it has the potential to be highly profitable. China has been embracing pet ownership, with 50 million registered dogs in the country, according to China Pet Products Association. And with the world's second largest population of millionaires, China has plenty of people who could afford this service. Not sure about this. Why not just go to the pet store, the animal shelter? Millions of pets need a home. You don't need to spend $35,000 on a new cat, even though it might look like yours. You don't need to spend $53,000 on a dog. There's lots of happy dogs at the shelters, but I don't get it. Don't get it. This whole cloning thing scares the daylights out of me, too. It really does. Let's look up in the sky. SpaceX launched Starman into space more than a year and a half ago, but people are still thinking about the Roadster riding test dummy. Any chance SpaceX could launch a small spacecraft that could catch up to Starman and take some pics? A Twitter user tweeted out. And based on Elon Musk's reply, in a few years, Starman is still on his mind too. Musk didn't provide any details on a future Starman meetup, such as how or why SpaceX would take photos of the dummy. However, it is unlikely the timing of the event would be random, so does he want to line up another mission? Will Starman reach the location in 2022 that Musk thinks is ideal for a photo shoot? Hard to say, but one thing Musk's tweet does suggest, he isn't necessarily too concerned about Starman's distance from Earth during SpaceX's next rendezvous with the dummy. If he was, the best time to snap some Starman photos would be in November 2020, when the Roadster will be just 51.9 million kilometers or 32.3 million miles away. Whatever Musk's reasoning for the timing, however, one thing seems clear: we haven't seen the last of SpaceX's Starman. A man has been hospitalized after being bitten by a crocodile that once belonged to late Cuban dictator Fidel Castro. The injured man was attending a crayfish party, a traditional Swedish celebration at which crayfish are eaten in Stockholm's Skansen Aquarium, when he was bitten on the arm by the crocodile. The man was giving a speech while standing on a rock in a restricted area of the facility. He had his arm on a glass barrier, which was about 2 meters high. One of the Cuban crocodiles saw it and came and just jumped right up and grabbed his arm. Luckily, there were 3 medical doctors at the party in attendance, so they took care of him and stopped the blood. The ambulance came and took him to the hospital. The man sustained injuries to his lower arm and hand. The crocodile lost its grip after about 10 seconds. The snappy reptile is one of 2 Cuban crocodiles originally given to Russian cosmonaut by Castro in the 1970s. The cosmonaut took the animals back to Moscow. They were eventually brought into Sweden. The aquarium has bred many Cuban crocodiles from the pair since they arrived at the facility in 1981. It has reintroduced some of the animals back to Cuba. Cuban crocodiles are thought to be critically endangered. Well, that's kind of cool. Don't know how I feel about this. 2 people are lucky to be alive after their plane lost power and went down in Half Moon Bay off the coast of California, and they caught the entire dramatic ordeal on tape. David Lesh and his girlfriend Kayla were visiting San Francisco from Denver to do an air-to-air photo shoot of Lesh's new Beechcraft Bonanza airplane he had just purchased only a few weeks ago. "We're going to go flying over the Golden Gate Bridge and do a whole bay tour," Lesh told the media. "Obviously, we didn't make it there." In the other aircraft flying close to Lesh was Owen Leipelt, and a passenger who was tasked with taking pictures of Lesh's plane. As they were flying over Half Moon Bay, Lesh's plane lost all power, and he was unable to get the engine back up and running. The plane began suddenly descending. I would guess that we probably didn't have much more than maybe a minute or 2 from the time I figured out something was wrong to the time we hit the water, Lesh said. Dramatic video taken from Leipelt's plane shows the moment of the impact as Lesh's plane hit and skidded across the water about 9 miles south of Pillar Point Harbor. It skipped along the water a few times. There was no impact at all. We were totally fine, Lesh said. Got the door open right away. We piled out. I grabbed my phone, grabbed some stuff to float, and we stood on the wing as long as we could before it started sinking in probably 30 to 40 seconds. Lepelt was piloting the other plane, said he lost them at one point. Coast Guard came in, scooped them on up, and everybody is good. They're just lucky, man, that no sharks came by. Seriously. All right. Florida man has been arrested after performing a botched... Oh, my goodness. I don't even know if I can do this one. A botched castration attempt on another man that he met on the dark web on some fetish site. The 74-year-old man, Gary Van Ryswyk, has been detained by Highland County Sheriff's Office and charged with practicing medicine without a license, resulting in bodily injury, which is a second-degree felony. Deputies went to Van Ryswyk's home just before midnight after receiving a 911 hang-up call. Van Ryswyk answered the door and told the cops he had castrated a 53-year-old man whom they found on a bed, in the home, bleeding heavily from his groin. The room in which the cops found the castrated man had been set up like a surgery center containing medical equipment and painkillers. They also found a pink container nearby that held the man's testicles. Van Ryswyk said he met his victim, who had not been named, on a website dedicated to eunuch fetishism, whatever the hell that is. In their discussions, he told the man he previously had castrated animals and had removed one of his own testicles back in 2012. Van Ryswyk began the castration procedure around 10 p.m. on Sunday night. However, the patient began to bleed so heavily he was having difficulty controlling it and could not close the wound. That's when he decided to call for medical assistance. Scott Dressel, the Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer, has reported he is unsure if the patient's testicles were reattached when he reached the hospital. But he remains there in stable condition. I'll tell you, this Van Ryswyk, he's a real nut bar. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, or we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What are your thoughts on paranormal tourism? Good or bad? Why? Taro is kicking things off on Twitter. The ghosts of missed opportunities were the Nucks. Plays are pretty cool. I think that was a shot at me being a Vancouver Canucks fan. Trip, or just a different version of a circus sideshow, depending on how tours are conducted, has a lot to do with either it's an attraction or an experience. Shannon, an industry without guidelines or a fact-checking is bad. Those I've looked at are exaggerated or made up. A good academic book or dark tourism and how ghost tours can become harmful is Haunted South by Tia Miles. We're going to have to check that out. The Robinator. People are always interested in the afterlife. They go on these tours so hoping they will see something, get a picture of it, but something else might be seeing them back. I don't have an opinion about if they are good or bad. Joe, when I stayed at the Stanley Hotel, there were ghost tours on my floor until almost 9 p.m. It was a very annoying account of the noise of the tour directors loudly speaking, no respect for the guests. Eric, maybe when Disney buys the Skinwalker Ranch, where the fun follows you home, e-ticket ride. David, not happy about the spirits coming through just to gawk at us as we go about our lives here on the physical plane, but I'm not sure how we discourage them. It's not like raising the hotel occupancy tax will do any good. That's funny. Philly, bad. It's not normal. Is anything normal in the paranormal? Christoph, depends on how the venues are managed. It can be done respectfully. A good venue would research the land, the people that live there, and ancestry if needed. And all of this info would lend in assisting the operators in running a respectful venue. Cajun. The unseen are always around, and the no disturb sign does not apply in their case. Unless you seal your home and yourself. Personally, I would not seek them out. There are things that exist in that realm that I don't want to see. All right. Daryl. It should limit or be limited to a number of guests, and the number should be decided by the entities themselves. Daniel Clays, we just had on last night. I think you know my opinion on it, Dave. If locations embrace their local government with numbers and statistics, it can most definitely be positive, especially if you are attempting to fix up an old location. Francesca, excellent. Brings tourism and obvious benefits and education on history and paranormal to communities. Gabe, like I tell anybody, put yourself in that situation is like dangling your feet in a shark tank. Grant, dumb, 'cause it's dumb. Rona, I would love to do paranormal tourism. Can't tell people how many spirits occupy a building or hotel and what they look like and what they are doing there. Eric, disrespectful to spirits unless you have an arrangement with them. Also a danger to the public unless you've taught them protective measures beforehand. William, not overly enamored with the concept. Certainly MUFON and its tours have been lucrative, but I wonder about integrity. Robert, could be a good thing, but it's not. Quality unexplained phenomena are human needs. That's the thought of the day today. We thank everybody participating on Twitter and Facebook. We will do it all again tomorrow. And we also thank Captain Shirk for putting our news together at this SOR Newswire, which could be found at spacedoutradio.com. Big thanks to Mike Morin. Yeah, Merle, all day, all night. And Amber Bekkerud from Cryptid Tales on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio, for coming on in for the Ghost of the Great White North. We had a strong night tonight, and I'm looking forward to it all happening again very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on the SOR Space Travelers Club on Facebook, Spreaker, Revolution Radio, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Wherever you may be listening, thank you so much for tuning us in. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for sharing your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a good night, everybody.